Good evening. The regular meeting of the South San Antonio Independent School District Board of Trustees will come to order. Today is February 19th, 2020, and the time is 6 p.m. Michelle, roll call, please.
Stacy Alvarez.
Present.
Gilbert Rodriguez.
Present.
Ali Prado.
Present.
Shirley Ibarra-Peña. Present. Homer Flores.
Here.
Kevin Maxwell.
Present.
Veronica Barba. Here.
Thank you. At this time, would you please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance, Texas Pledge, our prayer, and our call to action.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Texas pledge. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible. Please bow your head in prayer. Heavenly Father, thank you for every seed that has been filled here today. Only you truly know what we are setting out to accomplish. We have an idea, a vision, hints, and daily instructions. We pray you guide us in all of our decisions. In Jesus' name we pray, amen. Call to action. All students enjoy successful education experiences, empowering them to make decisions for enriching their lives in the future they create.
Thank you. The first item on the agenda is citizens to be heard. Mr. Rodriguez, our Vice President, will take charge.
Thank you, Madam President. First citizens, you'll have 3 minutes to make your remarks. When I hold this pink card up, you'll have 30 seconds, so you can start to wrap up your comments. The first citizens to be heard is Mr. Andrew Guevara.
Good evening, everyone. Superintendent Cedejo, members of the board. First of all, for those who know me, I'm a little shy behind the microphone. And second of all, let me put all board members at ease. I'm not up here going to ask for any money. Okay? What I want to do is I've got a couple of things I'd like to direct to Ms. Prado. Ms. Prado, it's no secret anymore what's going to occur at the end of this evening. We all know what's going to happen, and as a parent and as a community member, I want to stand up here and thank you. I want to stand up here and personally thank you for 20 years of dedicated service to the children of the South San Independent School District. I thank you for that. I thank you, Ms. Prado, for everything that you've done. The cliche that goes, get out of the kitchen if you can't stand the heat. You know what, Ms. Prado, no matter what the subject was, you always dug your heels into the ground. You always stood for what you believed was right. And because of that, it was always a positive outcome for the children here in the South San Independent School District. So I thank you for never leaving our kitchen. Thank you for that. I appreciate that. Ms. Prado, whatever your future endeavor brings to you, I wish you nothing but the best. And I hope that it all goes well and that you're successful in that, because I know that if you are, not only the children of the South Side Independent School District will continue to be taken care of, but the children of the Southside community and beyond will. So I wish you the best of luck in that. Once again, as a parent and community member, all I wanted to say was thank you. Thank you, thank you for everything that you've done this summer. I want you to remember that Southside will always, forever be your home. You're welcome back anytime. We go to about 100 events a year, probably all over the district, and without fail, I could always look into the stands or out into the audience and know that you were going to be there to continue to support the children of the South End Independent School District. So thank you. Thank you. Best of luck in the future, Ms. Prado. Godspeed, and not thanks for it.
Thank you, sir. The next item, the next citizens we heard is Mr. Tom Cummings.
Thank you. Ms. Prado, members of the board, Ms. Enrico, members of the audience. My name is Tom Cummings and I'm representing the South San AFT. Recently, IDEA Charter Schools have been in the media. It has been exposed for extravagant spending of students' money, such as $400,000 for a Spurs suite. Plans for leasing a private jet at $2 million a year with a 6-year lease. Combined pay of the two top administrators of close to $1 million a year. and sweetheart business dealings with relatives and friends, which are illegal for public school board members such as yourself to do, but not for charter school board members and administrators. Charter schools are scams to enrich a few at the expense of the students. Now we have another charter school, which is apparently targeting South San. This charter is the Seven Seas Academy. It has a board with 5 members, 3 of whom are recently departed South San school board members. The appointed president of the Seven Seas Charter School Board is Angelina Ospagin, the former South San ISD school board president, who lost her re-election. The 2 other former South San board members now serving on Seven Seas are Elda Flores, who resigned from the South San school board last fall, and Edward Mejia, who was defeated in the 2018 school board election. The final 2 school board members of Seven Seas apparently do not even live in San Antonio. This begs the question, is this the charter school which was supposed to take over 1 or more South San schools before the 2018 school board election, which changed the direction of the board and the district? Regardless of the past, Seven Seas is apparently targeting South San for the fall of 2021. South San is facing challenges by those who wish to make a quick buck, rather than addressing the needs of South San students and neighborhoods. Neighborhood schools are the anchors for families in South San. There must be an aggressive campaign to bring back the South San students so they can receive the quality education that South San provides and to sustain those neighborhood schools. On a different subject, we oppose bringing in the pre-K for SA. Our district has an excellent pre-K program without the extra cost of that pre-K for SA.
Mr. Cummings, your time period is expired.
Okay. Thank you for that, and we support the libraries too.
Madam President, that concludes the citizens' hearing.
Thank you, Mr. Rodriguez. Next item are recognitions, and we have 2 tonight. The first recognition is of the South San Antonio High School Cheer Team 2019-2020, and the second will be the recognition of the South San Antonio ISD counselors, mental health, and college readiness staff. Ms. Alejo.
Yes. Good evening. Thank you, Mrs. Strato, members of the board, our community and staff. Thank you for being here today. Yes, we are excited about our celebrations, especially our young ladies that are here. We do have Ms. Lorraine De Leon that will begin the presentation, but again, thank you and welcome.
Would the board members like to join us, please? Good evening, Madam President, Board of Trustees, and Ms. Alejo. It is with great pleasure that we recognize our outstanding cheer squad. The cheer squad is under the direction of Mrs. Jennifer Olivares. This year, and Ms. Olivares has led them for the past 4 years at multiple competitions. This year has been extremely special as they had 3 competitions, 1 at the regional level and 2 at the national level. And with those competitions at the regional level, they placed first place. At the Alamo Nationals, they also placed first. And then most recently at the NCAA national competition, they placed third. And these, as Ms. Olivares will share with you, has been a significant event because we haven't placed at the national level, for 2 competitions. So there's been great work, and that recognition is for their exemplary skill and technique in what they do. So at this time, without further ado, I'd like to introduce Ms. Olivares.
you very much for allowing us to come here today. We realize that a lot of the stuff that we do would not be possible at all if it wasn't for our great board. And our amazing teachers and our amazing administration. I'd also like to really thank my parents. I'd like to have everybody give a round of applause. And they motivate their kids really a lot. The thing that is so special about this year is that, you know, we kind of shrunk down to kind of a small team for different reasons. We only had 7 girls competing on the mat. And they were competing against teams that had like 25 people in them. Some were from Laredo, some were from Austin, some were from here. They beat out teams that had way more people than them, way more stunt groups going up. Looked, you know, from a judge's point of view, it looks more amazing to see 5 stunt groups in the air than just 1, you know. But the routine is a routine, and they have to judge it based on the skills that they see performed, and they hit everything that they need to hit. They did everything that they were told to do. We have a great team of trainers and coaches at Terrific Techniques that we train at, is an all-star gym, and they were there at Nationals with us too. And these girls outperformed everybody. As you can see, you know, my parents have some of our banners and stuff that they got. Like, yeah, they got 3rd place at NCA, but they beat out 7 other teams in our division. Some of those teams were Northside teams. Okay, when we went to Cheer Power Nationals, we beat out John Jay and Stevens. And I know a lot of times it's like, oh, we can never beat Northside. We always say these things, right? No, we beat them, right? When we got these jackets, we beat out LBJ, which is Johnson, right? They've never lost. So they lost, and they drove all the way to San Antonio to lose. So, I mean, I'm sorry. All the way back. And we were like, wow. So we really had to kind of get that feeling like, oh my God, we really are that good. We could beat them, you know, because we kind of had that little feeling too, like, oh, we're not that good, and we're South San, you know, we're always going to feel like we're not good enough or something like that. But no, they really had everybody really looking at them. Everybody, all those Northside teams, they were all looking at them. They were saying, South San, they're the ones to beat. Everybody was saying it, you know, and not just the people over here. It was all those other people, all those other teams. So, I mean, yes, I'm very proud of them. I've never said that. Yes, I've been the coach for the last 4 years. I've never said that about any of the other teams that I've coached, other than this year, this team. Because like I said before, this year they finally got it. They understand like what competition is and how like important it is, and how you have to have a certain mindset to get this good. And this team got it. This team really understood it, and you can tell. You can tell in how they performed and how amazing they are. So we're going to give out some certificates for them. So the first one is our captain, senior, Josini Sandoval. And then we have our co-captain, senior, Sofia Hernandez. Okay, then we have our social officer, junior, Emily Martinez. Okay, another social officer who is not here tonight, Isabella Gomez. We're going to still clap for her. She was in junior, so she couldn't be here tonight. Okay. We have Alina Ramirez, she's a sophomore. Alyssa Guevara, sophomore. We have Kaylee Garcia, she's a junior. Okay, and last but not least, our senior, Leticia Laque. She's an alternate for NCA, but that's just because she loves softball so much too. She's our amazing softball player too. Okay, so she did both. She competed with us at our regional competition, and she was an alternate for NCA.
And for sure, not least, Miss Jennifer Olivares, our cheerleader.
Do we cheer squad?
Everybody knows that's so much. Oh, one more, the trophy. Get ready to be. Perfect. All right, here we go. You know the routine, girls, here first. 1, 2, 3. Cool. I'm proud, Dad.
Like I'm
I'll go touch it.
We got it? We are going to stay here in front as we do celebrate our counselors. So we'd like to welcome Mr. Gallardo for this presentation. Mr. Gallardo.
Good evening, Madam President, Mr. Dejo. National School Counseling Week is always celebrated the first full week in February, which highlights the tremendous impact professional school counselors can have in helping students achieve school success and plan for a career. In addition to our professional school counselors, we would also like to recognize tonight our mental health specialists and college readiness staff. The main focus of National School Counseling Week is to bring public attention on the unique contribution of counselors within U.S. school systems. Gone are the days of counseling staff sitting in their office simply handing out college applications, making schedule changes for students who want to drop a class, or meeting with the students who were sent to the principal's office. Professional school counselors, mental health specialists, and college readiness staff are vital members of the education team. Besides being school leaders, student advocates, parent liaisons, community organization outreach, and constantly collaborating with teachers, they have training in crisis intervention and are often called upon to assist in small and large-scale crisis situations. They spend limitless hours to help all students in the areas of academic achievement, personal social development, and career development, ensuring today's students become the productive, well-adjusted adults of tomorrow. South San ISD is blessed to have a great group of individuals. Now I'm going to call out some of the counselors who are present tonight. I do want to say that the flu and other illnesses have affected some of our counselors or their own students or their own children, and they were not able to be here tonight. So if you can come up here and as I call your name, please. From Athens Elementary, Patricia Lopez. Five Palms Elementary, Claudia Gutierrez. One of our new counselors, Jesse Lopez from Dwight Middle School. From Shepherd Middle School, Maria Spain. From South San High School, Patricia Hernandez. Patricia is our dual credit facilitator. And also from the high school, Ms. Angelica Melendez. She is our college and financial aid specialist.
Cheer pose or right there?
Go 1, 2, 3. Go more, 1, 2, 3. Cool. All right.
Okay, thank you everyone for coming. Next item on the agenda is the superintendent's remarks. Ms. Sendejo.
Thank you, Mrs. Prado, and thank you everyone for being here this evening. Just a bit of a balance of celebrations and our academic celebrations as well. Last night, our Lady Bobcats made a playoff appearance in basketball, so thank you all that were able to attend. Coach Alegria and the staff, they did a phenomenal job, and we want to congratulate them for that appearance. We did play the #1 team, Clark, and we gave them a heck of a ball game, that's all I can tell you, so congratulations there. Along with that, in the midst of everything, we are in the benchmark mode. There's a lot of testing everywhere. Today I had lunch over at Kaizen with my mentee. We had no bells, and there's testing going on, so we're looking forward to sharing some of that data here in the next month or so to our trustees. One more celebration, and we had to keep this one under wraps just a little longer, even though I shared it with a few, and of course with our board. And as you all may have known, this past fall, we submitted our application for P-TECH for our West Campus for 2020-21 as a planning year. And we'd like to share that we have been granted that opportunity and been approved for that. Read that little part just to like it said in there. So congratulations, this letters to inform the South San Antonio ISD that the Texas Education Agency has approved the 2020-2021 Pathways of Technology Early College High School P-TECH Planning Year application of the South San Antonio High School West Campus. We're pending our CDC, that is coming. It is en route, so we are really excited and proud. I do also want to share and thank Texas A&M San Antonio, as they are our higher ed partner and chose to provide us that signature just in the nick of time. So Texas A&M President Maxson, Carl, Dr. Dean Shapiris, we appreciate you all for the efforts and looking forward to the planning process. So celebration, celebration, celebration. So thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Sendejo.
Yes, ma'am.
Next item on the agenda are consent items. Board member, we have consent items 1 through 14. So at this time, if there's any item under consent that you would like to have pulled, please let me know at this time.
Madam President, if I may be recognized.
Yes, Mr. Rodriguez.
I just have a question for legal counsel first. Mr. Hannon, is it appropriate, is it okay if I pull an item to have further discussions in closed session. It's item number 13, it's regarding the personnel, it's personnel matters.
Yes.
Okay. Madam President, I'd like to pull item number 13, so we can have further discussion in closed session.
Okay, Mr. Rodriguez, if there are no objections, with all board members, and this item will be moved into closed session. So are there any other items that would like to be pulled from items 1 through 14? I'd like to pull item number 11 only because I have comments to make on it. So it looks like that's the only item that's actually pulled at this time. So we can move forward then, and if there's a motion for items 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, I'm sorry, 9, 10, 12, and 14. Do I hear a motion?
Motion to approve.
I have a motion by Ms. Alderete. Do I hear a second?
Second.
I have a second by Ms. Peña. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. Item number 11 is the approval of the February budget amendment. I wanted to just make some comments on this item because the board and the district has worked very hard in making sure that we are doing our due diligence in our financial responsibility. The district has been anticipating for the past 2 years a loss of enrollment. This is nothing new to us. However, the district has done its due diligence and has prepared for this event. Even with the loss of ADA, we still managed to reopen Athens, reopen Kazan, and reopen West Campus without bankrupting the school district, as was reported when we first took on this endeavor. The district has and will continue to maintain a 3-month operating general fund balance. TEA recommends that school districts operate at least with a 2-month operating fund balance, but South San has always consistently maintained a 3-month operating fund balance. Also, we've had other challenges regarding pay under HB3, but we met those challenges, and the board has proven that we have been good stewards of the taxpayers' money. We have provided financial oversight, and let's say that the proof is in the pudding. The current status of the general fund balance speaks for itself. That's all I have, the only comments I have on this item. So if there's no objection, I make a motion that we approve item number 11. Do I hear a second?
Second.
A second by Mr. Rodriguez. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. Okay, moving on, the next item on the agenda is our presentation and reports. And the first one is a report on pre-K for SA. Ms. Sendejo.
Yes, ma'am, thank you, Mrs. Prado. As members of the board, as you recall, we've had some opportunity to share information with you all and potential opportunities for our district. And this is just that, an opportunity for a report from pre-K for SA and what opportunities are available for our students. And this time, we do welcome Ms. Larissa, and I do see Brad here as well. We have about a 10-minute, and then of course some questions if you have any as well. But please note, this is only a presentation for your information. Welcome.
Thank you. All right. Good afternoon, Board President Sato, members of the board, and Superintendent Sendejo. Thank you for inviting us here today to share some information about our program, Pre-K for SA. My name is Larissa Wilkinson, and I'm the Director of Professional Learning and Program Innovation for our program. And I'm joined here today by my colleague Brad Davenport, who is our COO. Unfortunately, our CEO, Dr. Beret, was not able to make it today. She's out of town, so I'm here in her stead. All right. So a little bit about our program. So back in 2011, we started off by convening a Brainpower task force, and this was a group of both business leaders and education leaders who came together to look at workforce development here in San Antonio. And they looked at a variety of different issues and landed on early childhood education as one of the greatest investments that we could make as a city to build our workforce of tomorrow. And so in 2012, Pre-K for SA was put up for a vote, and it was voted in as a yes. And then 9 short months later, in 2013, we started our first 2 centers, which was our South and North Center. And then the following year, we opened our East and our West Center. During this time, another part of our program that we built was our professional learning, and we'll talk about that in just a second. And then in 2015, we started our competitive grants program was launched, which is what we give out $4.2 million annually to early childhood programs across the city. In 2017, we've been awarded a few different awards, and so in 2017 we had our HED and Excellence Education Award, and we also had our 8 school district wins. So we had 8 school district partners. And then in 2019, this year, one of the most exciting endeavors that we have done is partnered on an 1882 partnership with Edgewood ISD and opened our Gardendale Early Learning Center. So this year we launched 7 classrooms in pre-K and kindergarten, and next year we will be opening 1st and 2nd grade. And this is truly a partnership that we have with the district in terms of building capacity and working with them, so it's been a really wonderful partnership this year. And then we go for our reauthorization this year in 2020 in May. All right, so Pre-K for SA is truly a workforce development initiative. Our mission is that in one generation, we want to develop a world-class workforce through high-quality early childhood education. We take a very systemic approach to our work, so we lead with quality in our 4 education centers, and then also partner with districts and also early learning programs across the city to not only raise the quality for our children within our centers, but also the quality of pre-K education across the city. So we do this through our 4 pillars, which is our education center, professional learning grants, and then also our family engagement. So I'll go into a little detail about each one of those pillars. So I'll start with our education center. So as I said, we have 4 education centers that serve 2,000 4-year-olds, so 500 at each of our centers. We call these our incubators of innovation, which is our demonstration sites for what's possible in early childhood. We have certified teachers in all 100 of our classrooms and assistant teachers that have at least a CDA, which is a Child Development Associate's credential as well. We have a 1-to-10 student ratio, and we use research-based curriculum, which is the high scope curriculum, which is very student-centered and it takes an active learning approach to early childhood. We also offer extended hours, so we start at 7:15 to 8 is our before school. Our instructional day is from 8 to 3, and then we offer extended day from 3 to 6 p.m. So a lot of times when we hear about Pre-K for SA, a lot of the attention is spent on our 4 education centers, and people don't hear as much about what we're doing in terms of our 2 external branches, so I'll talk a little bit about those. Our first one is our professional learning department. And so we offer 20,000 hours of free professional learning across the city, 20,000 plus hours actually annually, to teachers, administrators, professional coaches in early learning. And our goal is improving instruction really from birth through 3rd grade. So we do partner with our child development centers and work with them on increasing instructional quality in those arenas as well. So we have about 15 professional learning specialists who each have their own expertise, whether it's in early learning, cognitive development, literacy, math, social and emotional learning. And we sort of deploy our professional learning through several different delivery models. So we offer seminars, we do workshops, and then for our partner districts, we really take a comprehensive approach. We sit with each one of our districts and really think through their needs, from pre-K all the way to 3rd grade, and then we also offer one-on-one coaching and mentoring. And what we found through our research and also through our experience is that a lot of times pre-K teachers don't often get the content-specific knowledge that they need in professional learning. We're sticking them into kindergarten professional learning, or kindergarten to 1st grade professional learning. And so this is one way that we sort of offset that, is by really focusing our professional learning on content-specific knowledge for pre-kindergarten teachers. And then we also offer specialized training for parents that are interested in entering into the early childhood workforce. So we do teacher credentialing. So we have a program, it's a free program for assistant teachers, but also for parents that are interested in obtaining their CDA and entering into early childhood workforce, which is really exciting. Our second external branch is our competitive grants. So again, we give out $4.2 million annually, and sort of a rough breakdown estimate of that is $3.6 million of those dollars are going to our partner districts, with the rest being disseminated to support some of our other schools that are public, private, charter, or parochial programs, as well as our child development centers as well. So in addition to the 2,000 children that we're supporting in our centers, we support an additional 3,000 students through our competitive grants program. And then our last pillar is our family engagement and outreach. So the focus of our family engagement and outreach is really developing parents as leaders and advocates for their children, but also for early learning in our community. So we have family cafes at each one of our centers. We also have dedicated staff, parent liaisons that are there to help connect our parents to resources, but also to go out to the community and bring those resources back into our centers. We also have a curriculum, a family curriculum, that is a very culturally relevant curriculum called Fuentes. And it is an 8-week curriculum course that we do with our parents to really connect the learning that's happening in the classrooms into their homes. We also distribute early childhood books to them as well, and it's in both English and Spanish. The reason why I mentioned Fuentes is because this is also one of our innovations, curricular innovations, that we fund through our grants and also support through our professional learning for other programs who are interested in implementing our Fuentes curriculum. So we have over 10,000 family interactions annually. So I mentioned a little bit about our curricular innovations. So in addition to utilizing the high school curriculum, our curricular innovations are curriculums that we have developed in-house at Pre-K for Essay and piloted within our 4 education centers and are looking to implement in interested programs across the city. And so our first is our Arts Infusion. So we are a national Wolf Trap partner. And so Wolf Trap is housed at the Tobin Center out of the Arts Fund. And essentially what it is they fund artist residents for about $2,500 per resident to come into the classroom. And these are artist residents who have expertise in puppetry or singing or musical instruments. And they work with teachers alongside of them for about 8 weeks to really help teachers understand how to infuse in a meaningful way arts integrated programming. So this is one of the programs that we use in our 4 education centers, but we also fund to our district partners through our grants program. Then we have our civic engagement program. This is called Gracias. And so this is a year-long initiative that we do that now we have a few partner classrooms who are doing our Gracias initiative with us. But at the very beginning of the year, our children vote on 3 nonprofits, and they come down to 1 nonprofit of their choice. And we invite local artists to come into the classroom, as well as our children and their families meet on things called city explorations. So they go out into the city of San Antonio, and they go to lots of different sites, and to really get an idea of what our city means to them through the eyes of 4-year-olds. And then our local artists come in and work with the children to create an art piece. So we have about 100 pieces from all of our classrooms, along with now some of our district partners. East Central has joined us, and we auction them off in a exhibit at the end of the year, and this year it'll be at our public library, and we've raised over about $25,000 for local nonprofits around the city. Last year we raised about $10,000 for Child's Day. So it's a really amazing program that really shows our children that they have a voice, even at 4 years old, in what's happening in their city. So we are very excited that this year was the first year we brought on our partner districts. And then our last initiative, or our last curricular innovation, is our Garden to School. So we have a very robust outdoor learning environment. We have gardens in all of our centers, and children go out there, they plant the seeds, they harvest the food, and then we also developed 2 years ago a partnership with Chef, which is the culinary health education for families. And they have a curriculum for 1st through 3rd grade that they're implementing in the district that really looks at healthy eating habits, but also this whole idea of where does our food come from. And they approached us, and we created a pre-K curriculum it's a 6-week program, and it has real cooking tools, and we bring in the food from local vendors, and the kids do a series of cooking lessons in their classroom. This is another program that this year we're really excited to launch in our partner districts as well. So lots of fun, different curricular innovations, professional learning, and grants that we offer through our partnerships. So on your screen right now are our 8 district partners that we currently have. Some of the benefits of our partnerships, which I sort of spoke of already, is the eligibility for our grants. So those competitive grants are only open to partner districts. Specialized professional learning, so although we do offer conferences and lots of different professional learning across the city, we do a much more comprehensive specialized professional learning with our partner districts. This year we are very excited. We just found out that we will be an authorized vendor for our reading academies. So this is a mandatory training that districts will be offering their teachers typically for between $400 if you're doing a blended cohort, $3,000 if it's comprehensive, and you've been authorized to do it for free. So we will be offering free reading academies to our partner districts as well. We also offer kinder transition opportunities. So there's right now, January and February, we invite our districts to come into our centers. They set up a table. They get to bring information. They talk to our families. The whole idea around our kinder transitions is really giving them a warm handoff into their transitioning into their district schools. In addition, we also bring buses and they do bus tours as well to their kindergarten programs. So the buses come, the families can go to their districts and to their local kindergartens. We'll go learn about the kinder transition into the public school system. And this also helps raise the visibility of our district programs. How the partnership works, so students in our centers are duly enrolled in both the district and at Pre-K for Essay. The district receives the state funding. Pre-K for Essay retains about $3,200 per child for their attendance in the program, but the district retains all the additional funding, including the federal funding as well. And then Pre-K for Essay also provides speech, language, occupational therapy, and physical therapy services at no charge to the district, even though the children in special education are still enrolled in the district, and the district still has full autonomy of how the art process works with those children. And then essentially to formalize the partnership, we do a signed MOU, and there's approval by both the organization's boards. So at this time, I just want to thank you for your time. And if you have any questions about Pre-K for Essay, we're happy to answer them.
Thank you, board members. Are there any questions? If Ms. Wilson, Ms.
Wilkinson, yes.
Wilkinson. Any questions for our presenter at this time? Pre-K for Essay? No? Okay. Thank you so much for your presentation. We really appreciate you coming.
Great. Thank you so much.
Okay. Moving on, our next item on the agenda is the report on the state of South San ISD libraries. Ms. Sendejo.
Yes, thank you, Mrs. Prado. We do have the opportunity to share the state of our libraries. As you all are aware, we have been meeting and going through our budget committee meetings as well. And this is the time that our departments are coming together and identifying needs overall. I will share as part of the budget process for 2020-2021, about March 24th, all our principals, department heads will be receiving training with Mr. Baum and the rest of our business team through the process of what this looks like. So this gives us an opportunity because it's great. Typically, whether it's walking the hallways or different meetings, there are needs that come up, and it's a great opportunity that I get to share. You are going to have that time to process the needs assessments for every one of the departments and provide those and submit those. And then, of course, they'll be a part of the budget committee and the determination. This one here, I know Ms. Shields and Mr. Cobb will speak specifically about the state of the libraries and what opportunities we have. So please be mindful and reflective as you listen to the presentation and ask questions. Thank you. Welcome, Ms. Shields. Welcome, Mr. Cobb.
Thank you. Thank you. Good evening, Madam President, Mrs. Sendejo, and board members. We are wanting to share about the libraries, and you're wondering, well, where does Ms. Shields come into the whole library? And actually, I want to tell you how Mr. Cloud and I ended up collaborating together on this. You know that since I came to the district almost 4 years ago, we've been very focused on our literacy learning and initiative. And I was in balance literacy training with a group of fourth grade teachers, and they were sharing, we were focused on independent reading, and they were sharing, independent reading is very important, which you're going to see in this presentation, and they were sharing with me some concerns they have about the books that our students have or do not have access to in our libraries. So that prompted me to go to Mr. Cloud and start asking questions, and here we are. So, as you know, we place high value and importance on our kids learning to read and being readers. And so in this slide, it really shows the research that's out there about kids reading and the minutes they read per day and how that impacts testing, specifically STAR testing. And so you can see that kids who read 20 minutes per day independently score significantly higher on standardized tests versus kids who read only maybe 1 or 5 minutes a day. And so we do build in opportunities for our students to read independently. In elementary and middle school, we've been actually learning about independent reading, which you probably think, gee, it's independent reading, like how complicated could that be? But there's actually a lot to it. And the teachers have been learning about that this year, which also increased their interest in students having access to a variety of books and genres that they can select from. So in our new English language arts teams, it specifically, I've underlined these 2 sentences because it specifically refers to that kids should be self-selecting text and reading independently for a sustained amount of time daily. And then also they should have access to multiple text genres, nonfiction, fiction, drama, all different kinds of books. And so that's super important, and that's why we're here, because our students don't have as good of access as they could have to all those different kinds of books. And so the other thing that I did in the course of this was I started reading the research that's out there about kids reading digitally versus reading a paper book. And actually I read a study that said that kids' comprehension is reduced by 1/3 when they're reading digitally and they're scrolling. So I thought that was very interesting. And so I think we still, even though we're in a digital world and we all read on our phones, I think kids still need paper books to read as well. So I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Cloud, and he's going to take you through some further information.
First of all, I just want to say I'm very happy to be before you this evening. Anyone who knows me very well, I think tires of hearing about how much I enjoy working with the Library Services Group. I think they, like I said, they're fatigued with how much I discuss it and everything I say about it. And I think that's why Ms. De Leon told me, you only have 10 minutes to talk tonight. So you're lucky. You don't have to hear me daily like talking about library services. But all joking aside, I don't take it lightly that I'm standing here with you as an audience. And so I do hope you have questions for what we plan to present. If you look at the slide before you, you'll see highlighted there that one of the important duties of the library services or department is to maintain a professionally developed collection of print and digital materials. And that is the gist of why we're here, to talk about the current state of our overall collection as a district and what we would like to see. We have a goal in mind for our collection. So if you look at your screen now, you'll notice you can see the title, This is Where We Are and This is Where We Hope to Be. So you see some standards here, and you can take some time to have a look at the maroon circle that shows the state where we are as a library services department, and specifically the collection of books that we have on our shelves at all of our campuses. You can see the age of collection, the number of items in the collection, and so forth. Our goal is to get to the proficient stage. Would we love to be distinguished? Of course, and that is our end goal. But for now, baby steps, we'd like to move to the proficient stage. So one of the facets of that page we were just looking at is average age of books. And I was able to collect some data for some surrounding districts, and you can see from the table we don't compare very well. And this is why I'm so passionate about when I get with people and start talking about library services in South San ISD. I think this is an injustice. I think this needs to be corrected. I don't have, unfortunately, all of the surrounding districts, but I think I have a pretty good handful of districts that show where we are. And I think it's interesting that IDEA is at the top. You know, we talk about how much we feel threatened by charter schools, I think, and the competition they can take away students from us. I think this is just another area that we can shore up things and move the needle and keep some kids from leaving. Here's another comparison. I'll let you take a few moments to absorb this. So I'm hoping to get some information from Edgewood. I reached out to them and did not get the data that I was hoping for. But you can see some of these other districts around us. I think Southwest ISD and Harlandale are good comparisons just because of the number of campuses. And if you look at it, I mean, it's pretty black and white. If you look at the budget we have for books, it's very minuscule compared to the other districts around us. One of the other facets of the comparison sheet that I showed earlier is the book-to-student ratio. And these are for proficient, this is what is recommended. We should have 14 books per student on the elementary level and 12 on the secondary level. So the next slide, I know this is tiny print. We hope to have it on the screen, and that's just how it works out. But you can see that our ratio is actually pretty good. We have a pretty good number of books. However, if we were weeding books like we should, getting rid of books that are outdated, our ratio would not be reflected as well. I do want to call attention, though, if you look at the very bottom of the list, our high school is not in good shape when it comes to ratio of books. We're barely, almost 7 books per student. So the typical approach of a library services program is to do both of these things, to weed outdated books as well as purchase new books. And with that balance, the average age will go up. I want to make sure you realize that I've spoken with every librarian in the district, and one of the things they say is that they're afraid to weed any books, because if they were to do so, the shelves would be very empty and bare. And so they have proceeded, status quo, not doing anything. They can barely purchase, a very small number of books per year, and then they don't want to weed on top of all of that. So, did you want to talk about this?
So I just want to show you all this picture. This picture is, nonfiction books become outdated very quickly because technology is moving very quickly, or can become outdated. And so you can see this picture of a cell phone, and it says that one day we might all have one in our pocket. So, the kids were like, what do you mean? I have one in my pocket now. So this was we found this funny when we were doing our research.
So on your screen now, you will see our goal in a nutshell. We would like, as I mentioned, to move from the improvement needed as far as our book collection goes to proficient classification within 5 calendar years. Along with that, we would like to overall modernize the South San libraries with a furniture refresh, much like you allowed for Athens and Kazan to be modernized. We would like that same touch for every library in the district. We were discussing earlier, Ms. Shields mentioned, the reason for the furniture is because the libraries today are not the libraries when I was 5 and 6 and 7. They're not the same. Students go in there to do things like makerspace. They do robotics. They build with Legos. There's so many things that happen in a library that we could not even conceive 20 years ago, probably 10 years ago. And so we need facilities that will allow for that, that will allow that facilitation. And so we've estimated an investment of $1 million over 3 to 5 years is what would allow us to do both of those things in our goal, and that would be to refresh the furniture as well as shore up the book collection. So that concludes our presentation, unless you have questions.
Thank you, Mr. Cloud. Board members, any questions for presenters at this time? Mr. Roscoe.
Thank you. Just a couple of observations. I truly do believe that literacy and getting our students to become passionate about reading is, I mean, there's a lot of research about the cognitive benefits of curiosity that stems. And so I'll say I really would like to see our libraries well supported. But a question, have we explored any possibility, because I saw that there's no digital really resources available for kids. Have we explored our partnerships with organizations such as Bibliotech to maybe bring in and be able to partner with some people to assist with some of those sorts of systems?
Yes, one of the things we began this year in August, I believe, is we have a partnership with San Antonio Public Library. Well, specifically, it's actually with Overdrive, and their app is called Sora. And so we have signed an agreement with them that did not cost us a penny. And so what Sora does is every student has access to the Overdrive app, and there is a minimal collection of digital books through Overdrive that students have access to. But what the agreement allowed for us to do is it also opens up the young, I guess it's not young adult, it's juvenile collection through the San Antonio Public Library right in that app. And I know what Overdrive is hoping. They're hoping that we purchase, but that was not a stipulation. That was just opening the door to the app. So it is a wonderful thing. If you have a chance to take a look, I highly encourage you to do that. So yes, we do have digital books through there. And various librarians have worked with Bibliotech as well. So we do have that option.
Is there a possibility of having some device checkout so that students can download digital books, take them home, read them, bring the device back? Have we explored something to help supplement our lack of books through a system like that?
Well, I guess if you look at the high school, Kaizen, and then the academies, those students are covered because they are one-to-one, so they have that option. As far as the elementaries, we don't have devices in our libraries. So that would be, I didn't ask for that, I didn't present that as an option, but
But we'll take it.
yeah. If you talk about digital copies of something, then yes, we're going to need devices to go with that. So yes, thank you.
Hold on, Ms. Alvarez. Mr. Rodriguez, did you want?
I'll defer to
Okay, Ms. Alvarez.
First of all, I'd like to say thank you. I think I've been pumping the grounds here for 16 years, and this is the first I've seen on our libraries. I'm old school. I make my kids flip pages. They know how to study. They know how to look things up. A lot of time, we depend so much on technology, but what happens with technology goes down. So I like the feel, the paper of, I know some of us love that technology, but I'm old school. Thank you for this, and if we don't know, then how do we help, right? Thank you for bringing this. I really, really appreciate it. I think it's something we really need to get to.
I will tell you, there have been multiple times I'm not being insincere here, I've almost been in tears since I've been here for about a year and a half, and every time someone has told me, well, no one's ever said this, and no one's ever talked about libraries. No, it hurts me that this is what has happened. So, sorry to get over it.
You needed a partner in crime.
I like to read, and I'm not a big fan of the computer, and I love flipping the pages.
Right, and I think if you ask, we assume, like I would rather sit down with a real book, and I think we assume that if you ask a 12-year-old, what would you rather have? I honestly think if they had a choice, they would like a real book too. They just happen to have this $1,000 device in their hand.
What we place in their hand.
Right, right.
Well, and the other thing I'm going to say about that, about having a real book, is the other research I read talked about where kids remember certain things that they read because they remember like location on a page. Well, you can't do that when you have your scrolling pages.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. Thanks.
Thank you. Mr. Rodriguez.
Yes, ma'am, thank you. First, thank you to Ms. Alejo and you two for bringing this before us. Like Ms. Alvarez said, if we're not aware, we can't have conversations regarding the resources that are required. So I certainly anticipate this information coming before the Budget Committee so we can see what we can put together to get our libraries where they need to be. And I certainly appreciate your passion that I'm seeing here. And I can just tell. I can also tell you that my daughter is going to Palo Alto, and when she says, Dad, I need a book, well, we can buy the digital copies. Dad, I need the book. So I can understand where you're coming from with that. So sooner rather than later, I hope that we can get this before the budget committee so we can have this conversation with Sendejo, and certainly our kids deserve more than what they currently have. And thank you for bringing this to our attention. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Rodriguez. Anybody else? Mr. Flores?
Thank you, Madam President. For a moment, thought that my name was on this book somewhere, and so I was getting scared. But one of the questions I do have is, what I did have was, when was the last time we had any awareness for what we need in the libraries? And Ms. Aldereta asked that, that saying that she had never seen it, just like I have never seen it, attending board meetings prior to this seat. And so I'm glad that you brought that up, because I would have, asked the superintendent and the board members to really look at this and support this. And then Mr. Rodriguez brought up it going to the budget committee, because we got to find room for this, right? And so, if I'm going to be a board member that advocates for children, it's definitely going to be on the reading and supporting whatever they need for that. One question I did have that you mentioned during your presentation was the independent reading time. What allotment is given to them, and what grades?
It varies based on in the time in the year. So we start small and we build up to build kids' stamina. The middle schools I believe their class periods are 47 minutes long. So trying to convince the middle school teachers to give time to that was a little difficult. But when they learned about how important it is for kids first to read books that they love and have that passion about reading. And then also them having that choice. They get to choose books that they're interested in reading, and that time has to be protected every day. You can't take it from them if you're trying to convey that, it's important and have a love of books. So, we try to ask that they give like 10 minutes, that is protected every single day for them to do that. And then the kids know, okay, this is going to be my time to read what I love. And then we also try to encourage them to read beyond the school day as well.
And then I have another question, because we have bilingual kids and we're going into the dual language, and what kind of collection do we have that's bilingual? Or, is it all Spanish, or, is it all, there's some Spanish, or is it all English? Because, I would think that we would have to increase that area also.
For sure, and that's another thing that we will address, is just, if you look at the collection that we hold, and the average age of our collection is 2000, and the high school, as you saw, was 1994 was the average collection at the library. Well, those books are not diverse, and they don't reflect the lives of people of color. They don't deal with things that our kids need to hear about. They read about people that they can't relate to in these books. And so when we were given money, thank you, for Athens and Kaizen, those libraries that we were able to purchase we made sure that we would get more diverse collection put together. And we would ensure the same thing as well moving forward. Our librarians are passionate about creating a diverse collection for today's students and the population that we serve, for sure.
Thank you, Mr. Flores. Anybody else? I would like to say something. I have to echo what Ms. Aldereta said and Mr. Rodriguez. As you know, I've been here the longest, and we've never had such a detailed presentation on the status of our library books until now. And that is important, as you've heard, and unless it's presented to us, we're not aware of it. So I think this is of the utmost importance, and I'm glad you brought it to us now, because the budget process will start real soon. So we need to start looking at budgeting to get this moving. Let's not wait. The other question I have is, as Mr. Rodriguez stated, his daughter is going to pack and has purchased a book. Do we have with Alamo College District, or maybe a suggestion is partner with them so that students like Gilbert's daughter, who's at PAC, who will not be using that book after that first year, can somehow tie into our seniors who will be going to PAC, that will be able to use those books. and therefore you communicate with each other at a lesser cost. You know, I'm sure that once the book is done, you just go on a shelf and create dust. And instead of selling it back to a bookstore, let's get tied in with our seniors and give them the opportunity to buy it firsthand from a former student. So I think that's something maybe we need to look at, you know, for the future as well.
Okay.
But the other question I have is the comment you made about Athens and Kaizen and their libraries. They were very, very well done. Am I to assume that because the money that we expended for the elementary and the middle school, would that be the same for all the other elementaries in the middle school? So I'm looking at numbers.
It really is based on the enrollment. So Kaizen and Athens, because of their enrollment starting out, they're okay. So what you purchased for them is adequate. But as the enrollment grows, obviously we'll need to bolster those numbers and add to them. So the answer to the question probably would not be one size fits all, because if you go to a place like Benavides, well, we can't take Athens money and say Benavides will be taken care of with that because it's a larger school. Does that
So
answer?
I would expect that between you, Mr. Cloud, and Ms. Shields, that maybe some sort of estimate on what you think maybe would be needed to get the books for the different campuses, so that we're not just throwing numbers out in the air, we're actually getting it from the experts. I think
And we actually have that data, we just didn't provide it. So we do have
Why
it.
did I wonder if you did?
Yeah, we have a pretty very good close estimate of exactly what we need to get to proficient for every campus.
That's awesome. I think that's something that, and Mr. Rodriguez as the budget chair, that needs to be presented to the budget committee, those estimates. So when we're going through the budget process and how much money we need for the current school year, we can plug some of that in there.
Sure.
Thank you so much. Your presentation was awesome.
Sure. If I may just say add one little thing. This is on the last slide, but I didn't allude to it. The asterisk next to the estimate leads you down to the bottom that says, followed by a yearly budget increase for maintenance and improvement. And the reason why I want to call attention to this is I haven't been around long enough to have experienced this, but some of the veteran librarians have told me that the reason we got into this condition is because at one point grant money came along. And so it must have been a sizable grant for the libraries. And someone, I'm not pointing fingers, the person probably isn't even here now, said, well, since you got this grant, you must not need this budget. And so they removed a very healthy budget, and then when the grant lapsed, there we were with this budget that we currently have, which barely takes care of, I don't know, 100 books a year for a library, and that's really not very much. So bottom line is, we're asking, we're hoping for an infusion of cash for these books, but also then a budget in line with modernizing a library and maintaining, so that we don't turn around 10 years from now and say, here we are again. So I just wanted to make that clear that, and we have a formula as well, a suggested formula that you can follow, and it's based on the average daily attendance rate. And that's just one estimate. They typically say, take your average daily attendance and multiply it times the average cost of a book, which could be $15 or $16, and then that would give you your budget for that campus. So I just wanted to throw that in there.
Okay. Since the more you talk, the more questions are coming. The other question I have that goes pretty much hand in foot is, we're going to get all these new books, and I think that's wonderful, but what kind of a tracking system or a system do the schools have in place that are keeping track of the books that are at the campus and those that leave the campus? What system do we have in place, or do we need a system?
I don't know if you're referring to those magnetic places, the scanners or whatever. I think the trend in library services has been to go to those, and then they recently have removed them all. And I don't know, I assume that's just a stigma that's placed on students, that we assume you're going to walk away with a book, and so we're removing those things. I mean, this is up for debate, and we can discuss these things. But I think most libraries have gone away from that particular scanner type thing. But as far as checking out books, we use a system called Alexandria, and it's a web-based system where librarians scan the book, the barcode, and then it immediately is attributed to that student. So we have record that that student has that book. But as far as walking away with it without being checked out, we currently don't have a system for monitoring that.
All right, well, thank you. You've answered all my questions. Thank you so much for your presentation.
I'm sorry that she can't keep the books. I got
Mrs. Crowley, I did want to note, just because it fit perfectly for today, as we go into our LSG goal progress measures, our constraints. Today we are reporting on goal progress measure 3.3 and 3.1, percentages of K3 students reading on level. So again, this is it really tied and spoke to what our goals and what we are processing and collecting progress on. So again, it allowed us that opportunity to share this information with you. I do recall it's been about a good 2 months that Mr. Cloud and Ms. Shields did come to our meeting and presented the state of the library and aligned it with today. So it was truly purposeful. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Sandejo. Moving on, the next item on the agenda is number 3, the monthly financial statement for the month ending January 2020. Ms. Sandejo.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, Mrs. Prado. As you have had the opportunity to review this monthly budget report, we are at about an average of 40%. I know we talked about give or take the expended percent being about 8% per month. So you do have the 41 there at the bottom right. Alongside with that, you do also have the expended by extension. If you recall, I have shared previously that there are some that are higher than others because we have expended some of those funds sooner rather than later. I do want to point out just a couple for us, in particular instruction, school leadership, and health services. You see that those expended percentages are a little lower. What we have been doing, and we credit this information to our budget committee, we have been reviewing every single function that's tied to staffing to ensure that we are aligning our funds and have just enough in there to make it through the year. So what you will see more than likely within February and March reports, you will see that expended percent balance out. We did have to make some adjustments based on our audit as well, so we are making those corrections that will still balance us out in a positive manner. But I do want to make note on those. Year to date, 31 million. We're at about a surplus of 11.6 million there. Just to recall in the red, the 650, that is the self-funded medical insurance. And just to keep in mind, we do have about a little over 500,000 in that particular fund. We just have not made that transfer over. So you see it in red, and we're collecting as we go. So eventually we just kind of swap it, and it'll go from red to, in hopes, to black, depending on the number of claims that come in. Alongside with that, we will see here in the next month the bond payments, and as you all recall, August and February are those big payment months. And so that will happen over in page 3, well, the bond payments will be made, and you will see a decrease there in that current surplus. That's all I have, and thank you for those of you that have asked specific questions, and really appreciate the opportunity to have our trustees as part of the budget committee as well, so that really has helped us as we're going through this next couple of months of our budget calendar and budget process for 2020-2021.
Thank you, Ms. Sandejo. Are there any questions for Ms. Sandejo on this item at this time?
Just a comment, just.
Yes, Mr.
if I may,
Rodriguez.
Madam President. Just tremendous work again with the superintendent and her staff to getting us in a place where we can make informed decisions from the budget committee perspective, and then ultimately decisions that the Board of Trustees puts forth regarding the budget and resources that we're providing. So thank you very much for the diligent work.
Thank you. Anyone else? No? Okay. Moving on to number 4. Number 4 is the board constraint number 2. The board shall not allow the introduction of new information or materials related to agenda items once the agenda is posted. This is just a report. It's not an action item. It's a restraint that we've had for some time. And actually, the board constraint number 2 has previously been reported back in August of 2019. So I'd like to hear from the board members. Is there any, should we continue with the constraint? Is it being adhered to? Do we make any changes? Are there any comments regarding our board constraint number 2? Anyone?
Madam President,
Yes,
if you
Mr.
recognize, I just want to say that over the course of the past handful of months, you know, we've received an abundance of information and been transparent via our budget committee process here at the Board of Trustees, ensuring that the board members and the community, for that matter, have access to all the data that we're privy to when we're going along this process. So, you know, whether we should keep it or not, I don't know, but I certainly can speak to the fact that I think all the board members would agree that, you know, that we're within our constraint.
Okay, any other comments? No? Okay, then moving on, our next item is item number 5, report on goal progress measures 3.1 and 3.2. Percentage of K through 3rd students reading on level. Ms. Sendero.
Yes, thank you, Mrs. Prado. Again, as you have received this information and presentation, we are reporting in particular in 3.1, the percent of 3rd grade students reading on or on grade level, above grade level, utilizing a universe screener and progress monitoring tool. 3.2, K2 students reading on and or above grade level, utilizing as well the universe screener. And we do have Ms. Amy Shields here as well. Again, thank you for the previous questions, but she is here as well, alongside myself and Ms. DeLeon, to answer any questions for you all. Ms. Shields, welcome back.
I'm excited to be here. I haven't given a reading report in quite a while, so I'm happy to be here. So I wanted to just start by reminding our end of the year goals for grade 3 is 54% of our students reading on or above level, and our end of the year goal for K through 2 combined is 51% of them reading on or above level. So I'm going to give you a report on the mid-year data, which we have been we've been doing testing, kindergarten tests in December, and then 1st through 3rd tests in January. So we'll start with kindergarten. So I wanted to explain a little bit about each grade level and what the goals are at different times in the year for what level they should be on. So of course, when kids come into kindergarten, some kids don't go to pre-K, and so we are working on their pre-reading skills all the first semester, letters and sounds and rhyming and blending and all those things that they need to do to learn how to begin to read. And so we do not give them a test. We do give them tests at the beginning of the year, so we know what they know about letters, sounds, and so forth, so that we can start working with them. And then in December, that is when we give them the first assessment to see which students are reading. So we would like them in December to be on a level A or a level B. And then by the end of the year, we want all of our kindergartners reading on a level D. So this is our current mid-year data. We tested 512 students. 221 of them are still working on their pre-reading skills, although remember, we gave this in December. So I've already been, I talked to the coaches, I interact with teachers, so I know for a fact some of this data, kids have already begun to read, even though this data occurred in December. So we have 207 students reading on level A or B, and we have actually 84 kids that are reading above level at this point. This is the campus level data for each campus. So for instance, I said, I know that kids are already reading, so like I was speaking to a coach, the coach at Kindred, and she said of the 20 students that are non-readers, 8 of them are already reading. So they've already moved on to level A or B. So first grade, Students, like I said, they come out of kindergarten reading on a level D. That is our goal for them. So we want them to begin on a level D in first grade in September when we test them. And then in January, we would like them to grow 2 levels to an F. And then by May, we would like them to leave first grade on an I. So this is our mid-year data. So we have assessed 572 students. We have 31 non-readers. We have students, 239 are still reading levels A through D. We have 67 students that are in level E, which is approaching the standard, which the standard this time of year is F. So we have 52 meeting the standard of reading on a level F, and then we have 183 students that are reading above level at this time of year. So that is for first grade, that is 41% of them on or above level at this time. So remember, first grade is the big year they learn to read. So there's probably like a bigger disparate, like a wider range of levels probably in first grade and where they're at than any other grade. So this is the by campus data. So you can see all of the different levels and where each campus is at. Second grade. So in second grade, like I said, they come out of first grade, they're on a level I, that's our goal. So we want them to start in second on a level I. We want them to grow to a K by January and an M by the end of the year. So currently, you can see that we don't have very many non-readers, which is good news. We have students reading in A through I levels, 212. We have 28 at approaches, 52 at meets. But we have 249 students reading above level for this time of year in second grade. So 55% of the students in second grade are reading on or above level. And then here's the campus level data. And then third grade, so in third grade, they come in out of second reading on level M, so we want them to start on level M in third grade. So then we would grow to an N by January and then a P by the end of the year. So they don't grow as many levels in second and third grade because there's more goals they have to master in each level in those grades. So this is the district data. So we have 2 non-readers in third grade right now. We have 178 that are not meeting the mid-year standard. We have 44 approaches, 53 at meets, and 271 of them are reading above level, which is good news. So this is the campus level data. So for instance, I was just curious, so I did a little digging. I wanted to know, okay, who are these 2 kiddos that we got to get reading? And so I found out that the one in Athens is one of our sped kiddos, and then the one at Five Palms just came to us. So they had not been here very long, so we will have to work hard to get that student reading. So currently where we're at, back to our goals, so the end of year goal for third grade is 54%, and currently we're at 59%. And the end of the year goal for K through 2 combined is 51%, so currently we're sitting at 51%. And so, just so you know, when they assess and teachers meet with the instructional coach and the principal, and they look at each individual student, they look at their growth from the beginning of the year to the middle of the year. They talk about what each student needs in terms of all students have guided reading during their core time. Then we talk about what additional guided reading is needed. We also talk about who would potentially also be served by the reading teachers and things like that. So after every time of testing, and then they also are progress monitoring their students depending on what level they're at, their progress monitored, and then that is also reported back to the coach and the principal as well. So they're tracking the data on each student to ensure that they are making progress. So that concludes my presentation, and I'll be happy to answer any questions you have.
Board members, are any questions for Ms. Shield on her presentation? Mr. Roscoe.
Hi, thank you. What do we use to derive these ratings? Is it Fontes and Fennell? Okay,
Yes.
Awesome. And you do that 3 times? Being in the middle of
In kindergarten twice, and then all the other grades 3 times a year.
Okay. And then in our elementaries, do we do balanced literacy, or do we separate out the reading and the writing? Or do we combine?
That's balanced literacy, so we do reading and writing workshop.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Rodriguez.
Madam President, yes, thank you very much. Tremendous presentation. I think all board members would agree that this is the type of data that we would like to see, and it helps us understand, you know, whenever. Well, first, do we have the resources that we need to continue to support this effort in, because it's critical, right? It's critical, our kinder to third graders, and we know that if we don't get them on as readers and get them progressing enough, that as the years go by, it just becomes that much more difficult, and then ultimately that much more expensive to try to address, you know, those concerns. So if we need more resources, please communicate that to the superintendent, and I think the board, I think to date has not approved any resources that you would need and the staff would need to get this moved along. I think I've been on record plenty of times of not being a fan of the goals that we set, because our staff and our teachers are going to rise to the goals that we set, right? So I look forward to a workshop where we can reassess these goals. So we're more in line, you know, let's aim for the sky, right? And we want to be reasonable and have reasonable expectations, I realize that, but the kids are going to rise to the standards that we set. So I think that we need to probably have some discussions on how we can move this along a little bit more, right? And obviously your input, yours and your team's input is going to be critical when it comes to that. So, but I totally understand. I have kids in the district. That the teacher is the most valuable asset that we have, and we need to be really keyed in on this K through third reading. It's very, very critical. So please, if there's anything that we can do, communicate that to the superintendent and should bring it forward. Yeah, I know you will. But thank
That's the courtesy.
So thank you for the hard work. Thank you for the granular data. It helps us to get a better understanding of where we're at. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Rodriguez. Anyone else? I do. I'd like to, Ms. Shields, thank you for your presentation. And congratulations on meeting the goal progress measure goals 3.1 and 3.2 that were set. So good job, you, the staff, and the teachers as well. I have a couple of questions. In your charts where it says does not meet and non-reader, is that one and the same? What is the difference between a does not meet and a non-reader?
So I'm going to go back just to one of the charts. I'll just go back to third grade. So the students, there's different benchmarks of levels. And so a non-reader means the student is not even reading on a level A. We are still working with that student on pre-reading skills. So, you know, level A books, very simple words, lots of space on the page, not a lot of words on the page, and then they progress. So if we did a workshop, I'd be happy to bring different books so y'all could see what a level A looks like versus what a D or, you know, an I, and so you can see the progression of what they read. And so for each one of these levels, there are goals of things that kids must learn before they progress on to the next level. And so as the levels increase, the goals are more complex, and it takes the students a little bit longer to master the goals, of course, across the course of the year. For instance, like in second grade and third grade, they only move 4 levels in a year. That would be the expectation versus like 6 in first grade, because there's not as many goals in each level in first, and in second and third, there's more goals in each level.
I see. And the other question I have is the number of students that are being tested by campus. Is that include bilingual kids?
That includes every single kid.
Every child.
Every child is assessed face-to-face by their teacher. So the teacher, when they're assessing them, they're looking at their reading behaviors and what they're doing. Like what words they're missing or mispronouncing or skipping, or just the different mistakes they're making, because when we look at their mistakes, then we know what things we need to work with them on during guided reading.
So my next question is, then I'm curious, is of the non-readers or of the does not meet, what is the percentage of bilingual kids?
I don't have that, but actually our bilingual kiddos are some of our better readers. So yeah, so it's actually easier, the syllables, it's phonetic, and so actually they're actually tend to be our better readers and are more successful. And so in fact, like I was thinking in like second grade, we use Fontes and Pinnell, which goes through level N. N is the end of second grade. well, we have to switch assessments in Spanish to a different assessment to assess beyond level N. So we have a significant number of kids already that are bilingual that are reading beyond a level N in 7th grade.
And with the non-readers, I guess after a certain length of time, do we go deeper and say maybe there's a problem that they're not being successful in reading? Are we addressing any problems they may have that is causing them not to read?
Right. So we look at, we start to look at things like, do they need to be tested for dyslexia, or do they need special ed testing? So the teachers are tracking as they're working with kids. They have goals that they're setting of things they're working with them on. And so over the course of time, if they're not mastering those goals, then we do know that there is probably a deeper issue that we need to address. So that's where we do response to intervention, and we keep that paperwork, and then we can respond to each student's needs. So like I said, dyslexic testing or special ed testing if necessary.
Okay. All right, thank you so much. Yes, Ms. Vivian.
I just wanted to add, I really want to thank Ms. Shields and her leadership with the instructional coaches and the reading teachers that we have at campus, as well as all of the teachers, the K1, 2, 3, and I want to also inform you that our pre-K teachers have also gotten training this year in balanced literacy. So this is really our 3rd year of this comprehensive reading support that Ms. Shields has led. And I will tell you, we have 120 new teachers this year. And so some of them are fresh out of college. And so Ms. Shields and her team, and we have a consultant that we've been working with the last 3 years, that I think we're really starting to see leadership, that we're getting our teachers trained in the early grades. And so the goal is that we have very few kids, we want all kids reading on grade level by 3rd grade. And so I do thank the commitment from the board, because our focus has been on early literacy, as you see these progress measures. And I want to say proudly too that I even feel that we beat the state. The state now is putting measures for early literacy. The reading academies have come up again with HB3, and really South San has been doing this for this is our 3rd year. So I'm just extremely proud of our work, the work of our teachers and Ms. Shields' leadership. I have to tell you, we have a lot of work to do still. And we do pull teachers for planning. We pulled all kinder teachers one day, all 1st grade teachers, and our principals have really made the commitment to, I don't have a sub, let's work something out, let's farm kids, because it's so essential and critical that our teachers get the training, especially when they come out from the universities brand new. So thank you all for your support with that.
Thank you, Ms. Avila. Thank you, Ms. Shields, for your presentation. Okay, board members, moving on to the last item under presentations. It's number 6, Superintendent Constrained Progress Measure, CPM 2.3. The superintendent shall develop 3 elementary schools in each feeder pattern as community hubs, utilizing the Community Partner Program to provide access to food, cash, and healthcare qualifying participants. Ms. Avila.
Thank you, Mrs. Bradley. Yes, ma'am. We do want to celebrate this particular constraint because in August we were able to establish the community partner programs, and you are aware that Armstrong, Athens Elementary, and Palo Alto Elementary are designated community sites. In addition to that, we do have a district contact. Mr. Huereca, he's not here, but kudos to him because he's what I call our mobile designated community site contact, because anytime we do have a potential parent or client, they may need this assistance, he provides that and transitions over to that area. I do want to point out, as we continue, and Mr. Rodriguez mentioned, coming back together and revisiting perhaps our goals. And from what I recall, I believe we still have maybe 1 trustee that needs to complete their training, which will allow us that opportunity to come back and revisit some of these goals. Alongside with that, previously there are particular questions that you can also reflect and ask, which are the goal progress monitoring questions. And I did a couple of those just so that you have a little insight of that on this end. In addition to the particular slide that you received. So the community partnership grant funding has been used to supply all three of those campuses with technology. So we have that accessibility for our families, community members. In this case, we know them as clients that come in for that support. And I'll give you an example. That's one brief service that we can provide is a supplemental nutrition assistance program. Instead of them having to go to the main office, they're able to go to one of these particular sites to complete and access the information that they need, updating the information as well. So it has had definitely some benefits there. What is currently happening is that we are reaching out to our families. We're working very closely with our communications department as well to continue to publicize this. Once our families are aware, clients share with other community members that they've done this, and then now they know that they don't have to. So a lot of word of mouth, but at the same time, what we can do within our district to better publicize this for our community. What else do we know that is working? And along with that is the strength that our families now have that service available near their campus and within the district. So that again, it's definitely a win. One of the questions that we always think about is just a limitation, but more so an opportunity. And the opportunity that we want to consider as we continue with the budget process and planning is creating additional designated sites. So some of the conversations we've had is creating these particular sites at the middle schools and in particularly the high school. So that'll allow us to expand just a little more in the future. We don't have a particular goal as to how we will acquire that, but we have had conversations about what other entities are out there that can support us to ensure we can fund this alongside what we appropriate within our district budgeting process. Again, why is this working? Because, I mean, it's helping our families. We want to consider that replication for the 2020-2021 school year. I do have some statistics to share with you as well, just so that you have an idea of where we are with that. How do we know that this is working? We've had some families share and be thankful, even though they don't have to be on that end, but we also would like to access a survey at the end of the school year, just to, again, to provide additional information. How might these changes show up in the future? And as we consider the additional sites, we will need to consider what funding sources are available for these particular sites. When we consider and disseminate the budget packets, I know this is something that's particularly on our list to present as well to our budget committee. And then I've heard you all say this, and I have here, how can the board help? Really understanding the needs of our community. Many of you ask, every single one of you asks many questions, whether it's directly to myself or via email, at any time text messages, so I appreciate that from each and every one of you. Just knowing and considering what we can do to have those funds available to positively support our students. Let me see if I missed anything here in my notes. No, I did not. I do also want to share that at times we do have that support service at the care zone as well. It is not official, but we've made an attempt to have that availability there as well. So any way that we can continue to enhance this and make note to our parents that this is available, we're going to continue to do that. Mrs. Rattle, that's all I have on this, and I can answer any additional questions. Any additional questions for you at this time?
Any questions from Ms. Sandejo on her presentation? Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Sandejo, for reporting our year CPM 2.3. Okay, board members, that concludes our presentation and reports. We will now convene into closed session pursuant to the Texas Open Meetings Act, Texas Government Code 551.071, 551.072, 551.074, 551.076, 551.082, and 551.0821. Number 1 is discussion concerning personnel matters pursuant to Texas Government Code Section 551.074. Number 2 is discussion regarding applications for the position of superintendent of schools. Number 3 is consultation with attorney. And number 4 is the item under consent number 13, which is approve the recommended staff for employment. The time now is 7:39.
Good.
The board will now reconvene into open session. The time is 9:29. First item on the agenda is actually consent item number 13. Approve the recommended staff from employment. Board members, do I hear a motion?
Madam President, a motion to approve.
I have a motion by Ms. Alderete. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Peña. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. Okay, now going to the closed session, discussion and possible action. Number one is the annual review of investment policy and approval of changes for policy CDA local.
Yes, thank you, Mrs. Bravo. Board members, just to give you some background, last week in our budget meeting, we did provide our committee with the recommended investment policy and potential approvals for your approval for changes to the policy CDA. We do have some talking points that Mr. Doucette will share with us and answer any questions for you all, for the trustees that are part of our committee, in hopes that this helps and if there's anything that you all would like to share. Mr. Doucette?
Yes, ma'am, thank you. So just to preface, as we talked about in the budget committee meeting, we did go to the investment officer training. I am not an expert, by no means, but we did get some working knowledge and information there. Regarding the changes to CDA local, we're recommending an addition of a clause that would allow the district to seek an outside investment advisor should we choose to do so. The advisor would assist the district in and the financial staff and management of the district's funds. The requirements of this advisor would be that they have to be registered with the SEC, the Securities and Exchange Commission. They also have to be registered with the Texas State Securities Board. They must demonstrate a knowledge and experience in management of public funds. And they also must obtain written approval from the district's investment officer before making any changes to the investments. We recommend that we reduce the language regarding the scope such that the policy applies to all financial assets of the district. We're also recommending a change as it relates to the liquidity and maturity date to allow a maximum dollar-weighted maturity of 730 days, which is 2 years, as opposed to only 180 days, which is 6 months. This change is also being recommended to allow the stated maturity of any individual investment up to 3 years, as opposed to only 1 year. This is going to allow the district to take advantage of the opportunities that occur when we have a steepened yield curve. We're also recommending that we remove the arbitrary asset mix language to allow greater flexibility in seeking the best rate of return with the least amount of risk to district funds. And finally, we're also recommending the removal of language that regarding the individual objectives for each type of fund that is held. This is akin to the change recommended regarding all financial assets of the district. I'll be happy to answer any questions as best I can. Remember, again, I'm not an expert yet.
Well, and I would make note prior to that, what we also discussed previously with our committee as well was having these adjustments made to the policy and then coming before the board for the potential opportunities that we can consider during the investments of our district. So really nothing, I would say specifically that will happen prior to, but really coming to and having those discussions prior to doing that. If you all recall from the audit report, we have had minimal activity for quite some time, and this will allow a little more flexibility in the best interest of our district.
Thank you, Ms. Sendejo. Board members, are there any questions for Mr. Doucette or Ms. Sendejo?
Madam President, if I may be.
Yes, Mr. Rodriguez.
I'd just like to inform the board members that we did, with Mr. Jeff Baum and Mr. Doucette and Superintendent, we did discuss this extensively at the Budget Committee meeting, and it was unanimously move forward for the Budget Committee's recommendation is that the full Board of Trustees approve the policy as presented. So.
Thank you, Mr. Rodriguez. Do I hear a motion for item number 1?
Madam President.
Yes, Mr.
Does
Flores.
Ms. Sendejo have a recommendation?
Absolutely, sir. Please know that we took time, we reviewed it, and then we brought it forward to the Budget Committee as well. So thank you for asking that. Yes, I highly recommend, and this will allow us that flexibility that we need without not coming before you to make those changes moving forward.
Thank you, Mr. Flores, for asking her. Okay, so at this time, do I hear a motion?
I'd like to make the motion to accept the changes to CDA level.
Okay, I have a motion by Mr. Raskow. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Alderete. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Item number 2 is discussion and possible action regarding the retirement of Price Elementary Assistant Principal, Ms. Sendejo.
Yes, ma'am. It's actually bittersweet for us. As you all may know, our assistant principal at Price has been with us for quite some time. Maybe Ms. Seaman can tell me how many years of anything, but I know she's been with us for a little bit there.
She's here a couple times. Yeah. Yeah, about 25, because I think she was here before I started.
Years, so I know this is something that I was able to speak to her, and it just, she felt that she had given the time, and again, it was a bittersweet because at the same time it allows her that opportunity to enjoy her time. So I recommend that we take and approve the retirement effective June 5th, not tomorrow. So, yes, she will be with us for a little longer through the rest of the year. Ms. Orozco, so she has testing to do, and I don't want to give Ms. Castillo a heart attack.
All right, members, we've heard the recommendation from Ms. Sendejo. Do I hear a motion?
Move to approve.
I have a motion by Mr. Rodriguez. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Peña. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Item number 3. Approval to pay all 240-day employees for April 13th, 2020. Ms. Sendejo.
Yes, ma'am. Mrs. Bravo, members of the board, just from the history that I've acquired and having this conversation, this particular action was recommended last year as well. It was approved April 22nd, bringing it in a little sooner, for the decision of the approval of the calendar. What will happen is that April 13, 2020, our campus staff will have the day off. That will leave all 240 employees attending or coming in. Again, like I said, it was approved last year. I wanted to bring it. I will tell you that with the approval of the calendar this evening, we have made the appropriate adjustments. So we will not be doing this next year. Quote me on that right on camera, but This will not happen. We've already made the corrections for that for 2020, 2021.
Any questions for Ms. Sendejo on this item? Ms. Sendejo, what is your recommendation?
I recommend that we approve the 240-day employees for April 13th, 2020.
Thank you. I have a recommendation by Ms. Sendejo. Do I hear a motion?
I motion to approve as presented.
I have a motion by Ms. Alvarez. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Flores. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Number 4, discussion, consideration, and possible action on non-renewal of insurance consultant agreement with Gallagher Benefit Service, Inc. Ms. Sendejo.
Yes, thank you, Mrs. Prado. I'm going to speak just a bit on 4 and 5 because this is definitely a brief combination, but I know that you will call that one as well, Mrs. Prado. We are approaching our agreement deadline of 2 years with Gallagher. Of course, there are some options of automatically reviewing for the next year. What will happen for us is I am recommending that we non-renew in efforts to come back with an RFQ here in the near future for us to explore other options that we may have to benefit the district and not leave any of those areas turned at this time. So this one in particular is for the approval of non-renewal and then going out for request for qualifications here in the near future. Please note that this will not happen as you approve it. We do have to provide some notification, so that still will allow us to have the consultant available for us. Yes, so you will be briefed and updated on that as well. And I see Mr. O'Hanlon kind of waiting over there.
June 26th, as I understand it, is that correct?
Yes.
Thank you, sir. June 26th.
Okay, board members, we've heard the recommendation of Ms. Sendejo. Do I hear a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the non-renewal of insurance consultant agreement with Gallagher.
I have a motion by Mr. Roscoe. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Rodriguez. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Fifth item is discussion, consideration, and possible action to issue a request for qualifications for insurance consultants. Ms. Sendejo.
Yes, ma'am. At this time, I recommend that we go, we consider the request for proposed qualifications for insurance consultants.
Okay, we have a recommendation by Ms. Sendejo. Board members, do I hear a motion?
Move to approve.
I have a motion by Mr. Rodriguez. Do I hear a second?
Second.
I have a second by Ms. Alderete. All in favor? Opposed? I'm sorry. I corrected, it was Ms. Peña. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. Okay, item number 6 is going to be pulled. This item was already acted on at the last meeting, and it was just a misprint, should not have been there. So moving on to item number 7. Item number 7 is election of board officers pursuant to district policy BDAA local, and that was requested by trustee Connie Bravo. Board members, as you recall, this past Friday, I made contact with each one of you. At that time, informing you of my intent to step down as board president at this meeting. I am voluntarily stepping down because I will be pursuing an elective office which will require much of my time and attention. Being board president, it requires time, constant coordination with the superintendent, legal counsel, and other team members. In short, I cannot pursue both endeavors responsibly. So we have arrived to this agenda item. So at this time, the chair will now entertain any motion on this item. Do I hear a motion from anybody?
Madam President, would I be able to be recognized?
Yes, Ms. Peña.
I would like to make a motion to nominate Mr. Gilbert Rodriguez as board president and Mr. Kevin Roscoe as board vice president.
Okay, I have a motion. Do I hear a second?
I second.
I have a second by Ms. Alderete. Roll call, please, Michelle.
Stacy Alderete,
Yes.
Gilbert Rodriguez,
Yes.
Connie Prado,
Yes.
Shirley Ibarra Peña,
Yes.
Homer Flores,
Yes.
Kevin Roscoe,
Yes.
Veronica Barba.
Yes.
Thank you, motion passes. At this time, Mr. President.
Just for the record,
Yes.
since there wasn't a motion with respect to the secretary, we will maintain the secretary.
Yes.
Is that the intent?
Yes.
Yeah. I just want to make sure.
Okay, so at this time, Mr. President, if you would take your seat,
Uh,
and Mr. Roscoe, if you would take your seat, we have one more item left.
I do not. I did not have a prepared speech. I did not know how things were going to shape up this evening. But first and foremost, before anything, I'd like to thank Ms. Prado for her service to our school district. When she communicated with me on Friday, her intentions, was exciting for her. I let her know that I would support her in any way that I could. I think that 20 plus years of servicing our South San Antonio Independent School District is only going to benefit her. And as Mr. Engelbado mentioned earlier, the entire South Side and all of our school districts that she will represent District 4 under. So it's an honor to succeed you as board president. I've definitely learned a lot. And I just want to personally thank you for your service, Ms. Prado. As for this position, you know, I served honorably for the Marine Corps for 9 years, and this is just as important for me, being elected by my peers to represent our team of 8 for our entire school district. I think that I've been very clear, I've been very transparent, very authentic on the type of leader that I am, what I see for our school district, and we will pursue that relentlessly while continuing to maintain our identity as South San Antonio Independent School District for years to come. So again, I appreciate the confidence, and I look forward to serving honorably for years to come. So, does anybody else have any comments?
Sure.
Mr. Roscoe, you're recognized.
Thank you. So, Mrs. Prado, I want to thank you because you really do have a heart for service for this community. And as I've gotten to know you over the last few months, that's just been the common dream through every interaction that I've had with you. And I want to thank you for that. And I'm sad that we're losing your leadership on this board. But I'm also glad that you're still going to remain with us for a little bit longer. And I want to wish you all the luck in the world on your next adventure. And we'll support you any way we can for that. So I want to thank you. And thank you to the board. Humbly, I'm very grateful for the opportunity and the vote of confidence. And I look forward to working with all of you in the future. So thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Roscoe. Anyone else? Ms. Alderete, you're recognized.
Yes, I think sitting up here, I've had the longest time with Ms. Prado. When I first started here in this district, I was one of those ones that doubted her. I can sit here and swallow that bullet and say that I was wrong. I'd like to thank you for, number one, forgiving me, because, you know, I was the smaller person at that point, but you still talked to me, you still were kind, and I saw many a times in this boardroom where the media hit you over and over and over, and they still do. And the comments that I saw when she announced to run for ACCD sickened me. And how that can be that's the biggest form of bullying. And, you know, people can say what they want to, but at the end of the day, you lay your head on your pillow knowing what you did. Don't ever let anybody take your oomph from you. I've been there, done that, and I'd like to thank you. Thank you for showing me that you don't give up. You've never given up, and people have thrown and thrown and thrown at you, and you've stood here and you've taken it like a champ, never giving that same behavior back. So thank you for your service. Thank you for forgiving me and being kind to me. And, you know, I wish you the best of luck. I know I said it back there, it's a teeter-totter. I want her to win because she's putting it out there, but I want to be selfish and keep her here. So, just thank you. Thank you for everything you've done.
Thank you, Ms. Alderete. Mr. Flores, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. President. I definitely have some words to say this time. I want to thank you for being a leader. I can remember going back and remembering, just because it was mentioned today by Mr. Iguala that you've been at almost all these events. And I cannot forget the work that you did to see the girls softball get raised up a notch, from girls being held down to girls being empowered. And that's what I felt when I actually first met you. And I've known you a little bit before, prior, you know, you my dad. But I guess having the front seat, you know, if I'm not in the pictures, I'm right in the middle, right? So I will come out sometimes and you come out. But to see you front and center and be front seat and witness the passion you have for the kids and the passion you have for the district, and then the way you defend it with everything you have. And so it's inspiring. And I definitely wish you the best of luck, you know, with your endeavors for ACCD, that it comes to fruition. And, you know, again, thank you. And, you know, so,
Thank you, Mr. Flores. Ms. Barber, you're recognized.
Thank you. I met Ms. Prado 2017 at a softball field when the girls were in the playoffs. And that's the first time I ever met Ms. Prado. And she was there. She followed the girls no matter where we went, Corpus, Matthews, I guess it was, different places, and Ms. Prado and her husband were always there for the girls. And after my daughter graduated in 2017, I had not been around. My daughter plays college softball, so I still follow that. But good luck to you, and I'm gonna miss you because I just got here.
Thank you, Ms. Barber. Ms. Ibarra, you're recognized.
Ms. Bell, I want to thank you for everything I've learned. You've taught me. Try not to cry here. But I want to thank you for your guidance, your knowledge. You'll be missed. And you know, wish you luck in your new journey. And hopefully we keep in touch.
Thank you, Ms. Ibarra. Just so we're clear, she's not leaving. Like, she's not yet. Not yet.
We know where we.
Once she wins the election, then, you know, but she'll definitely still be a valuable resource that's available to us. I know to myself and to our, you know, to individual board members. So she's still going to be here. So yeah, Ms. Alderete.
Just so you know, when she wins, she's going to ACCD, so she ain't leaving us anyway.
Right.
You know, she's represented.
All right, but I think the final item on the agenda is adjournment. So do I hear a motion to adjourn?
Mr. President, I make a motion to adjourn.
I second.
Second by Ms. Alderete. All those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. We are adjourned. And the time is 9:50.